Hi guys! Today we will be learning how to do web testing and website interaction using Selenium and Python. Let's go ahead and get started.
Hey there, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to dive into the world of software and web testing? Want to discover the secrets behind making sure that your applications run flawlessly and meet every expectation? Ever wondered what the real difference is between manual testing and automated testing? How about using Selenium to automate your web testing and save a ton of time? Well, you're in the right place. Stick around and I'll show you exactly how. Manual testing is when you as a user interact with web elements through logging in by typing authentication details, using your mouse to hover on or click web elements, scrolling through web pages and dragging and dropping files, and manually typing to fill out forms with the use of our keyboards. All of these actions require no training and are simple to do. But what if we are tasked to do this over and over again in a large website where there are a ton of different web elements that exist? This process can be taxing, time-consuming, and will be quite a chore. This is where automated testing comes into play. By doing automated testing, we can save time and increase efficiency. Automated tests can be run much faster than manual testing, especially for repetitive tasks. Once the tests are created, they can be executed automatically without human intervention. It also improves the accuracy of testing. Human error is a common in manual testing, especially for repetitive tasks. Automated tests run precisely and consistently, ensuring that no steps are skipped. We can also perform what we call regression testing efficiently. Automated tests are ideal for regression testing where you need to ensure that new features or bug fixes haven't broken existing functionality. They can quickly retest the entire application after each change. In this video, let's dive right in and learn more about web testing and how the Selenium IDE and its WebDriver can help ease this process for us. So for us to understand what web testing is, we must first identify its two main types, which is the manual testing and the automated testing. This presentation will be a comprehensive guide on their definition and their processes. So as a quick overview, we will be introduced to what web testing is, its importance in quality assurance processes and software development processes. We'll also know the definition of manual testing and what are the steps to do manual testing, the pros and cons of manual testing, and the scenarios where manual testing is preferred over automated testing. We will also explore where automated testing is used and the testing tools that are needed to use or to do automated testing. What are its definitions and the processes to do in performing automated testing? What are the benefits of using the Selenium testing tool for automation and its key features? For the QA testing steps, we will be also doing an overview of all the QA testing processes. What are the importance of regression testing and test cases? What are the steps involved in writing and executing test cases? And we will also be showcasing a sample test case that is used in actual web testing. We will also compare, as a conclusion, the difference between manual and automated testing and where and when it's suitable to use the other types over the other. So, what is manual web testing? This testing is performed manually without using automation tools. So this is the kind of testing where we, as users or testers, use our physical hands or our human senses to interact with our computer's peripherals, like looking through a monitor, using our hands to do clicks left and right, and scrolling through pages, using our keyboards to type in fields or search in or fill out forms. And this is where testers execute their test cases step by step. This kind of testing involves human observation to find bugs and ensure functionality. So they say that manual web testing is more optimal since people or testers tend to be more intuitive or tend to have more exploratory testing than what an automated web testing bot can do. So it is also suitable for small projects. So if you have just a small website and you need to perform short tasks daily, it wouldn't require an automated testing script for that to be done. So as cons for this kind of testing, manual testing tends to be time consuming, especially for repetitive tasks in large test suites or for large websites. So for large websites that have many UI elements or many web interactables, it is best not to use manual web testing. It is also prone to human errors, especially during regression testing. And regression testing, we will discuss more about this later. We will define this and the steps on doing regression testing. So these are some of the UI elements that we can interact with our browsers. So several websites contains buttons, submit buttons, reset buttons, toggle buttons, and icon buttons. These are just the most common buttons that we can see in the websites that we frequent daily. There can also be forms, which contains text input fields or the fields where we can click in and enter text using our keyboards. There are also password input fields or what we call authentication pages where we can input some username or password to log in. There are text areas, checkboxes, which we can tick or untick, radio buttons which we can select from multiple selections, drop-down select menus, file upload fields where we can drag or select a file to upload. There are also links, which are what we call hyperlinks, or in HTML, these contain the anchor tags. Navigation links and breadcrumb links are also similar UI elements to that as well. Images, like clickable images that contains hyperlinks, image buttons, sliders, which we can scroll through, like range sliders and volume sliders, and image carousels, which are like the images that are side by side, which we can scroll through left and right. There can also be modals or pop-ups, such as alert boxes, confirmation dialogues, and some custom modals that are set by the programmers. So, in contrast with manual testing, automated web testing are tests that are carried out using scripts like Python or JavaScript and utilizing automation tools like Selenium, Appium for mobile testing, Cypress, LambdaTest, and many other automation tools available in the market. These scripts, like JavaScript and Python, simulate user actions, clicking buttons, navigating pages, entering text, or scrolling through pages, are just some of the user actions that these scripts and automated web testing can emulate. This type of web testing is also ideal for repetitive tasks, regression testing, and large websites or large projects. These tests tend to be executed faster and more accurately than manual testing. These tests can run 24/7 without human intervention. Its cons are you need some initial setup effort for this to be done, since you need to be scripting or coding a script for this one to work. But in the end, it reduces long-term testing time and costs, or a need for hiring a manual tester for your websites. So, as a summary, the key differences in manual versus automated testing is, of course, first, the execution speed. Having manual versus automated testing, it is obvious that automated testing will be much faster since you can do this automatically, and computers tend to be more faster than humans when clicking or interacting with web pages. In terms of repetitiveness, a human can do errors doing repetitive tasks, but scripts won't be more error prone than that since they require to find elements using time delays or using wait times. So they will wait for a certain element to appear before they click it. Next is the test coverage. A manual tester can only do so much in a certain period of time, but an automated testing can run 24/7 or whenever we want. So the time limit is not much of an issue when covering a big website or testing a big website. So for initial effort, this is where manual testing wins since manual testing requires no initial scripting and you can do those user interacting with UI elements without much effort or preparation. The cost over time is, of course, it's more efficient to do automated testing since you won't spend time hiring for a manual tester, or the manual tester won't spend his time that much if he develops an automated testing using scripts and testing tools. But the cons of automated testing is it lacks human observation since a script can't be as intuitive as a human tester. Since testers have exploratory tendencies, which they can be creative in their own ways of testing some interactables with the website. So why use Selenium for web testing? Selenium is one of the most powerful tools right now in automating web browser interaction. Another main thing to use Selenium instead of other testing tools is it supports multiple programming languages or scripting languages like Python, Java, JavaScript, and C# to name a few. So if you are proficient with just one of these languages, you can opt to choose Selenium for your automated testing processes. Selenium can also run tests across multiple browsers, mostly Chromium browsers or Chrome-based browsers like Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. This kind of test is also ideal for repetitive tasks and regression testing. It also integrates with CI/CD pipelines for efficient testing. Now let's go ahead and identify the steps in performing quality assurance testing or web testing in general. First is requirement analysis. We must first define what needs to be tested, which areas are tested or are changed, so we can focus those on our new test cases. Understand the application's functionality and its testing goals. After we have analyzed the requirements, we can now go ahead and proceed to test planning. In the test planning phase, we identify test strategies and tools. We determine test scope, resources, and timelines. In the test design, or test case design, we can now write our detailed test cases outlining the input. This is where we also place our expected outcomes for when a test case is executed. It includes edge cases and user scenarios. For test environment setup, we need to prepare the environment for testing servers, databases, and browsers. For the fifth step, which is the test execution, this is where we run the tests manually through automation. This is where we also log and identify these defects in the testing results. For defect reporting, this is where we record any defects found assign priorities, and send them to the development team. Last is the regression testing. This is where bug fixes are executed. We run regression testing to ensure that the new code hasn't broken the existing functionalities or the functionalities before the changes were implemented. So let's know more about what regression testing is and what test cases are. Regression testing is done to ensure that the new changes, like code updates or bug fixes, that are done recently do not negatively affect the existing features. On the other hand, automating these regression tests using Selenium ensure that our change does not break the system or does not break other functionalities that were working before the testing or the bug fixes were made. So this may deal with some new bugs that will arise or some new bugs that were solved before but re-arised again after the bug fixes and code updates. Now, test cases are written documents that outline how to execute a specific tests, clear steps, expected outcomes, and variations. These cases are essential for both manual and automated testing. So an example of a test case looks something like this image right here. So usually a test case has an ID, so the testers and the development team can identify what test it is. It also has to have a name for more identification and to make a label on what kind of test or what that test is for. We need to also put the test scenario to ensure that the user can log into the system with valid credentials. Now, we can enumerate the steps, like for example, in this example, we have here open the browser, then do authentication processes like logging in your username and entering a valid password for that username. Then we should tally in what is the expected result after this authentication. The user could be redirected to the homepage so he can access the website that was locked before and display a welcome text like this. For example, welcome test user. It also displays a test data. This usually contains what the user has inputted, like for example in this login page, his username or email and the password. We should also set the priority for a test case. So for high priority test cases, these are the tests that should be done with a higher importance. Next is the test case status. This indicates whether the test case was successful or the functionality works as intended by the developers. And you can also include if the test case were done manually by a manual tester or automated using automation tools like Selenium WebDriver. So in conclusion, both manual and automated testing are essential for a robust quality assurance process. So some websites could require both. For meticulous testing, we do manual testing first, then automated testing for repetitive tasks. Manual testing is critical for exploratory and usability testing. As stated before, a person can have more exploratory tendencies and intuitive tendencies as compared to automated testing tools. But automated testing tools like Selenium is favored highly for its efficiency and regression performance, especially repetitive tests. So a balance of these, combining both methods, ensures thorough testing coverage and improved software quality. So that's it for this presentation. If you learned something, please go ahead and like and subscribe to the One Code Cab channel. Thank you for listening and have a good day.